Everybody came from work in black leather jackets and Levi's. They didn't have to go home and change into them. Everybody, everybody worked on the assembly lines in the Ford Motor Company. So they were hard rock. I mean, that's all they did. Honestly, I would say what really did change my life was She Loves You by the Beatles. That was the first Beatles song I ever heard. And it literally changed something in my brain. It took me someplace new that I went, it probably inspired what Alice Cooper became.
America, maybe the easiest thing to satirize is elections and candidates. They try to do a good job, I think, even though the president that's in office right now got dealt the same cards that the last guy got dealt. Everybody seems to think the president can press a button and everything's going to change. That's not going to happen.
Dude Looks Like a Lady, I should have written. Smells Like Teen Spirit, I should have written. Those were songs that were right up Alice Cooper's alley, that I heard them and I kicked myself. Like, oh my gosh, I should have wrote that song, At one point I have, the sword I use on stage is actually Errol Flynn's sword from Captain Blood. And I'm wheeling it around like this, and I normally just stick it in the stage and walk over here. And one night it was so much fog and so much, well, there might have been a little alcohol involved. And I stuck it right through my leg. So we had a friend that did a Wednesday night virtual tap dance class. So here's 7 people in the backyard up there tap dancing, And I said, I've always thought, what a great thing to be able to tap dance. You'll never see it on stage. Let's put it that way. Alice Cooper will never tap dance. The very first song I remember hearing on the radio was probably, it wasn't Elvis, it was probably Chuck Berry. I lived in Detroit, and my parents were very much into music. My dad was a big band guy. They were Jitterbug champions. They would actually Jitterbug, big 40s big band champion dancing. They were great. But I remember my uncle coming over and putting a 45 on, and it was Chuck Berry's, probably Maybelline or something like that. And I thought it was the greatest thing I'd ever heard.
Hate politics. When I was a kid, if my mom and dad were talking about who's going to raise taxes and all this, I would run into my room and put on the Yardbirds or the Who as loud as I could, just so I didn't have to hear about it. I like rock and roll and humanitarianism. I think that's what Bono does, that's what Sting does, and that's what Springsteen and all the guys do. They do humanitarian things, and it gets confused with being political. But that's just my opinion. I'm just one American.